Don't get me wrong. The everyday worries of stress with the kids or, you know, are we going to be able to pay our bills at the end of the month? I try not to think forward because it's going to work out because it does. It always works out. I have a sign up there in my office. I wear the bands. My kids have it tattooed on their body. My pops always used to say this too shall pass. So even in the worst times, here's the thing, even in your worst times, there's people that are bad having days that are even worse than that. And not that you want to compare, but I want you to understand that like it's gonna be okay. Coach Bob is a unique man, and he's a very calming man. He's a man that I wish I could have played for. He's a guy that you want to run through a brick wall for. But when you listen to him speak, because he's so spiritual and how much he loves God, he really, really put you at another level. I needed that. And the funny thing was, he was in my life 5 years ago, 6 years ago when Tommy was there. I just didn't know it. Isn't it funny how God works? He was under my nose for 5 years ago, and I could have. Why didn't I take a minute then to be able to? I couldn't get out of my own way back then. There's no way our paths would have ever crossed. I spent most of my time in a bar and a restaurant, and he's reading Bibles, going home to his wife. But now he's in my life, and he will be for the rest of my life because he's a great man. He's a great role model. All the kids love him. He teaches the game the right way, and he teaches life the right way with God in it. So here's something crazy I wanted to share with you. He gave us a stack of Bibles, and I happened to take this Bible. And before we started recording today, it's funny. Everybody knows that we started going to Cornerstone and Lakewood Ranch, um, you know, Christian based church. And the last 5 weeks, the pastor's been talking about Ruth. And Ruth, the passage is basically Ruth was married, husband passed away. She takes the mother-in-law. They have to leave the city that they're from, go to another because there's no food, go to another city. She doesn't belong with that family because, she's the wife, and it's not even her mother. But she said, no, I need to help you and save you. And they go to another city, and she goes to work in the fields, and she meets, and they call it gleaning. So she's like gleaning for wheat, and she's working harder than the men and doing all this stuff. And she happens to be in the field that is owned by Boaz. Boaz is this big strapping young man who's single, not married, and he meets Ruth. Long story short is that they end up, she works her butt off, gets 2 months worth of food to bring back to her mother-in-law. It's not even her real mother. Her son has died, her husband's died, and she's still taking care of these people. Well, the crazy thing is this Bible is, let's say, roughly 17, nope, even crazier, because I can't even believe how many pages that are in this book. We're going to say like around 2,400 pages. No, 2,100 pages, somewhere around there. And I flip open, no joke, Ethan can attest to this. I flip open to page 390, and it's literally says the introduction to Ruth. And it's the story that we're studying or listening to over the last 4 or 5 weeks in church. Here's what I'll tell you. There's no such thing as luck, and there's no such thing as coincidences. That was God telling me that I'm doing the right thing by going to church, because I haven't been there in a very long time. And that came through Coach Bob and Cornerstone, and here we are. And I'm putting everything. I'm connecting all the dots. Talk about small W's. Do you think 5, 7, 8, 10 years ago, 15 years ago that I could have connected those dots? No, my words would have been, wow, that's a coincidence. Oh, that's pretty lucky. And the funny thing is, Pastor Phil said that. Like, he said he kept using the word, like, that's pretty lucky that. And then he would go on to say that this happened in a sequence, coincidence, and then a coincidence, and a coincidence. And he used the word luck through the whole thing. Could somebody be that lucky? No. No. He was actually talking about his own life. Pastor Phil was talking about how he got to Lakewood Ranch and became the pastor. And he used luck in between all of those words instead of saying that God has brought him here but he used the word luck. He's like, could I have been that lucky? No, this is what God wanted. Absolutely. I 100% believe that. No coincidences, no luck. And my motto always was, I would never wish my kids good luck, because luck's for people that aren't prepared. My kids are going to always be prepared for every game, for every job interview. They don't need luck. Luck's for people that aren't prepared, but there's no such thing as luck. No such thing as coincidences. It's just all in God's time when he wants it done. I asked him for help about something. Said maybe, 3 to 5 years that, I could do this and that. And it actually, that what I asked for came much earlier, but it wasn't luck or coincidence. It was supposed to happen this way. And I know that for a fact. And I said it to my wife, and she agrees. That's like the coolest thing ever. When you start actually taking a minute and not just glossing over that, like when that stuff happens and don't realize how it really does happen, then that's when you're missing. That's not when you're not living in the moment. Because I can't believe that I turned to this page. It's 1 in 2,100 of a chance of me to turn to that page. And I left the pages open because I keep staring at it going, this is unbelievable. I can't wait to share this story. I'm going to share it at church. I'm going to share it with Coach Bob. And I'm going to share it with Ty and the rest of my family. That's amazing to me. So I see things differently now, everybody. When you're able to actually take a step back and when you're becoming a well-rounded person and you're learning every day, don't get me wrong. The everyday worries of stress with the kids or, are we going to be able to pay our bills at the end of the month? I try not to think forward because it's going to work out, because it does. It always works out. I have a sign up there in my office. I wear the bands. My kids have it tattooed on their body. My pops always used to say this too shall pass. So even in the worst times, here's the thing, even in your worst times, there's people that are having days that are even worse than that. And not that you want to compare, but I want you to understand that it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And I never understood that until now. And I guess because of where I am and I'm at peace with so much, things are different in my life. I'm able to handle that stuff differently. Not so explosive. Not so quick triggered. Also more prepared. I think that's a good answer too. Also more prepared. But I'm prepared because I constantly bring God back into my life. Because when it starts to get that, I start to get that feeling again. And I've told people this over and over. The anxiety level used to be like a 7 or 8. Now it's 0. Every morning, 0. Even this morning, as tired as I was, it was a 0. Because when you can give it to God and be like, it's going to be okay, and you do the best you can that day, that's going to be better than most. And this is where I want people to understand this. Like, the easy days are great. When you're cruising, it's like when you go 3 for 3 and the baseball looks like a beach ball. Those are the easy days. It's the days you go 1 for 3 with a walk and you're grinding every at bat, but you made really good contact 2 out of the 3 times and you only get 1 hit. Or you go 0 for 2 with a walk or 2 walks. Not the best day, but that's more of what life is. Life isn't 3 for 3 every day with 2 stand-up doubles and a home run. Those are once in a while times. And I think we have to do a better job of learning how to grind. And the only way you can do that is take accountability for yourself and your actions. And really look yourself in the mirror. I used to say this to my kids. You sit down at your locker after every game and truthfully say, did I do the best I could today with the best stuff you had? And if you did, then that's it. God bless. I try to do that on a daily basis. Like, did I accomplish what I needed to accomplish today? Some days, the days that I start feeling that little bit of anxiousness, those are the days that I actually don't think I accomplished is what I was supposed to. But that's all right. The nice thing, what God says, is that there's tomorrow and you get another crack at it. And the first thing we do is thank God that we're here. You know, the I say this in a lot of episodes, but you have to understand that you thank God as soon as you wake up because he lets you live another day. And then the first thing you should do is make your bed because that's the first W of the day. Most people don't do that. Most little kids are lazy, or their mommy's going to do it for them, or their dad, because they need to go watch YouTube. Or what are we teaching our kids? That they have built-in maids? I want my kids, and I think they do, have more than I ever had, but I want them to appreciate it, not be entitled to it. That's important to me. And I see my kids doing that, and I want to see them. And what I do know is that I've instilled that, and I'm doing that with my 11-year-old now. When they have kids, I'm going to watch them do the same thing because they're going to be raised the right way. Are they going to be perfect? Nope. Not a chance. They're going to make mistakes. But I always say to them, please don't try not to make the same ones I made because I've told you over and over again, but they still may do it. That's life. And they got to learn. As long as they learn from their mistakes, that's what I care about. Don't keep making the same mistake over and over again. But I do it in a different manner now. Like I always say that I say this to my 11-year-old, man, you get the best version of me. I'm less angry, less explosive, and a lot more tolerable to like some of the stuff that I never even would have even dreamt of with my other kids. But I think, again, that comes with patience. That comes with God being in my life. Comes with being sober. All these positive things. My wife, who loves me and supports me. This doesn't work unless she's a part of it. If we're not on the same page, we can't get this done. We always say we work best when we're working together. And you find a lot of people out there that are not really on the same page. They may be attracted to each other, but they're not really working together. That's a big difference. That's a big difference. And I think back to my mom and dad, and I say, man, I can't believe that you guys work together, live together, travel together. Like they did everything together. I didn't understand it. Now I understand. That's true love. That's respect. That's why I tell my wife, we need that in our life. Most alpha men need that. And if they say they don't, they're lying. Or they're conceited assholes. That's for damn sure. Especially when you got children thrown in the mix. Because it takes two to raise children. And I know there's a lot of single parents out there that do it, and God bless you all that are able to do it. But it does take a lot of stress off when you're on the same page with your wife or your husband and you guys are clicking. And the kid knows he can't get away with anything. Because kids are kids. They're going to try. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to push the boundaries and the limits and then say, oh, shit, I'm not supposed to go that far. You're right. Sorry. But if one is saying, no, it's okay, and the other one's saying, no, like, there you go, not on the same page, or you're hiding stuff behind their backs or whatever, not on the same page, not good. I think that's where our downfall happens sometimes. But anyways, I really want to say this episode I didn't even realize was going to entail so much God and the love for him, but it really is what has put me on the right path and showed me, like, just this little thing today with opening up the Bible, 2,100 pages, and I flipped to 390, and it's, the introduction to Ruth, and this is what we've been, listening to over the last 5 weeks at Cornerstone. That's an amazing thing. That's incredible stuff. That's not even a small W. That's a big W. So thank you, God. I appreciate that. I do. And I love you for it. And I love all my listeners and all my followers. Please subscribe. Please click the like button. And I look forward to giving you another great episode next week. God bless and stay safe.